Here is question number 13 of our practice test on Unit 3. Graph the quadratic function. Consider the function f of x equals to a times x minus 5 whole square plus b. What must be true for a and b for f of x to have only one real root, and part b is f of x to have no real root. So we have to give what could be the values of a and b so that the function f of x has only one real root or no real root. So think about it and then try to answer. Meanwhile, here is my suggestion. So let's make kind of a sketch. Graph always helps us to get the answer. When we say x minus 5 whole square, that means vertex is at 5, right? So that is what we know. So that means if I draw a line which is x equals to 5, then my vertex is somewhere on this line. So that takes care of x minus 5. Now it says f of x to have only one real root. So if it has only one real root, then that should be right there. Do you see, right there on the x-axis? Only then a parabola like this will have one real root. Now if the parabola is like this, what could be its equation? So it could be x minus 5 whole square, but b should be 0 for this. If b is not 0, then at x equals to 5, f of x will be b, right? So if I put f of x as 5 in this equation, so we have the equation f of x equals to a times x minus 5 whole square plus b. Now if I put x as 0, right, or if I put x as 5, do you see 5, then what do I get? I get a times 5 minus 5 whole square plus b. That means I get b. So what I'm trying to say that f of 5 is b. But f of 5 we know is what? 0. Do you see that? Therefore, b is equals to 0. So that is how we get the first condition. So we say f of x to have only one root is possible only if b is equals to 0. Do you understand that part? So if the equation is given in the vertex form, then one real root is possible only if b is 0. Right? So that is the answer, part A. Part B is f of x to have no real root. No real root means I should move it so that it does not touch this axis. So that means I can shift it downwards, right? I can shift it downwards. So if I shift it downwards, in that case, what happens? In that case, a has to be negative, right? Because the parabola is opening downwards. And to shift it downwards, b should also be negative. Do you see that? B should also be negative. So if a is negative, so for green graph, we have a as negative and b also is negative, correct? Then we have no real root. So we have one example where a is negative and b is also equals to negative. Then we don't have any real root, right? So that is one case. But think about it. We could have got one real root like this also at 5. Do you see that? And if I have no real root for this particular graph, I should put it upwards. So in this case, the parabola is opening up. That means a value is positive. And since I moved positive, b is also positive. Do you understand? So I get 0 roots even if a is positive and b is also positive. Do you see that? So for part B, f of x to have no real roots, a and b should have same signs. Do you see that? So we have same sign for both a and b. Do you understand? Then we have no real roots. So this implies no real roots. So that is how we can get the answer for this and we can explain it. I hope that helps you. Thank you.